To be a good friend is not to get someone a toaster oven. To be a good friend is to give them cash.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Doing only okay?
Doing okay. Well,
you're pretending you're only okay. Andy's been singing Huey Lewis and the News all morning. Now suddenly you're just cover. Okay.
You know, Huey Lewis and the News, underrated.
Uh-huh. You want to serenade?
Both Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, really?
Very underrated.
So the News, do you think anyone in the News is upset that Huey Lewis gets his name in the name?
No, I think the News is psyched that they get to be called the News with Huey Lewis.
I guess it depends on your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that amazing? Your perspective, how that can change the way you see your situation.
Are you trying to make a point?
I mean, I feel like that might be a theme. I actually don't know. I don't know if that'll be a theme. I do think that can apply, though, many times.
It's the power of love. Do, do, do. I mean, how many good songs does he have? If this is it, please let me know. If this ain't love, then baby, please say so.
Oh,
or is it just say so? Either way, I could keep going. I mean, there's so many. I want a new drug. One that won't make you one that won't make me night. One that won't make me hungry, wondering what to do. One that makes me feel like I feel when I'm with you.
Ooh.
When I'm alone with you, baby.
Shall we get going answering our Shandy's cues, Andy?
Let's do it.
All right. That was beautiful. I enjoyed it.
It wasn't that great.
All right. This first question is from E. Hi, Charlene and Adam.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Long time, Shandy. I love the podcast, and I'm wondering when you'll both realize that we're all trolling you when we call Andy Adam.
All right.
My partner of 10 years and I, both mid-30s, are very much in love. At least once a day, 1, I feel an overwhelming flood of joy that he's my partner, and 2, he makes me laugh until I'm nearly in tears. He reminds me of Andy in some ways. For example, he always has an unreasonable amount of random animal knowledge, which might be part of why I love your podcast. Here is the issue. We are both deeply ambivalent about marriage, and I mean that in the correct use of the word. To make it clear, we are life partners, live together, and co-parent a kitten, and plan to have children together. So we see our relationship as a commitment comparable to a marriage. We have worked hard to challenge traditional gender norms in our relationship, and I find some norms about marriage to be in conflict with our values. Here are my questions. 1, will getting married change the feeling of excitement I feel about being with him? I find the idea of a legally binding contract to be kind of unromantic, and I'm scared to lose the sense of magic I feel like we've cultivated. 2, does it make sense to get married if neither of you feel like anything is missing? Thanks, E. I'm seeing a blank expression. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking how many comments I've read in the last year where I didn't know the joke was the Adam part. I feel very dumb.
I don't think that you're being dumb. I think that there is a percentage of Shandys who troll us, and then there's others who don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, I don't like not being in on a joke.
Oh, Andy.
It's a bad feeling. You know what I'm talking about.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh. I didn't realize how that came off.
Okay.
No, but now I know. It's better late than never.
Yes.
But I have to admit, I didn't realize it was a joke. And I've missed out on some good Adam jokes.
Oh, no, I think when it's a joke, you know it's a joke.
I didn't know.
No, I think you do.
Oh, I do?
The joke became a joke because like 5 or fewer people called you Adam over the course of like 2 years, and it became a joke. And now it's a joke. You're in the joke, Andy.
I am the butt of the joke now because I didn't know it was a joke.
Don't put too much stock in that one sentence.
I mean, I'm glad I know now.
Are we going to punish E by saying that by not answering her question?
No, I'm going to get to the question, but I do feel like I've missed out on some laughs as a result of me not knowing that was a joke, and I'm a little sad.
Well, I can say, as someone whose name is often messed up for trolling and non-trolling purposes, I don't think it's that funny.
Yeah, it's not that funny.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
you're
right.
good.
But maybe a chuckle. Maybe an internal chuckle,
it's
a silent chuckle.
It's a low-level joke. It's
low
fine.
Level.
Yes. Not to diss E.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good quality.
Yeah. Which she's showing is her shandiness.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. It's an inside joke. Inside jokes are always good.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're made funnier by the fact that they're inside.
Exactly.
All
right. Okay. Maybe they wouldn't be funny outside.
I actually think oftentimes inside jokes are not funny outside.
Actually, I think the qualification of an inside joke that it's not outside funny.
Yes, 100%. The only reason it's funny is because it's inside.
All right.
Okay.
Now, what was the question?
It's a joke entirely based on context and nothing else.
Right. It's actually, you have to be a member of the club to even get the joke.
100. You need the password to get the joke. And then you're like, okay, well, I feel special just because I had the password.
And even if the inside joke, even inside, is not that funny, it's still something you enjoy because you're like, oh yeah, I'm inside, so I know what you're talking about.
Oh, which brings us full circle. That's why you're not happy, because you feel like you're left out. You don't have the password to the club.
Right. I feel like I was the guy. They're like, yeah, let's tell him he's a member of the club, but he's really not.
All right. Shall we answer E's question? I have a strong opinion if you want me to go first.
You don't have to do anything.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, the answer is no, opinion. Of course. It's a rhetorical question. She knows the answer.
Yeah, it's a very leading question, actually.
Yeah, you do not have to get married.
No.
You don't have to get married even if you want to get married. Maybe I'm going too far.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like she has this impression of marriage, of what it is. And I think, E, if there's one takeaway I have from being with Andy for all this time, it's that marriage is what you want it to be. It's what you make of it. You know, not what you want it to be. Sometimes marriage obviously is not what you want it to be, but it sounds like you and your partner are very happy. And if a legally binding contract were the thing that somehow soured it for you, then A, like, I think it was probably something else. I don't think it was a legally binding contract. And B, then don't get married if that's what you're afraid of.
I'll be honest about this. I was one of those people in that camp where it was like, oh, it's illegal. I don't want that paper. I don't want to deal with a wedding. It's all nonsense, just tradition. And I got to be totally honest here. I was a big fan of the whole process with you.
Oh.
And I'm happy we did it.
Andy, that's so romantic.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think that if you embrace the meaning of it and stop thinking about the societal pressure and the whole tradition of it, and the work. There's a lot of work that goes in. If you want to have a wedding, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, but you also don't need to.
But good things in life often take work.
Yes.
And I think that if you embrace it and make it personal, make it yours, then it can be a really beautiful thing and a really meaningful thing. And I think that goes for anything. Totally. Like people will be like, oh, like I like the dog. With a dog, I was like, oh, I like cats because cats got to earn the love, and everyone's got a dog. Everybody on earth has a dog, and it's like automatically the dog loves you. And I was like, that seems, I don't want what everybody else has.
You felt it seemed cheap.
I felt it seemed cheap, and it's everyone does it. I don't want to do what everybody does. If everybody does something, I'm assuming there's something wrong with it. Okay. But you know what? It's amazing. It's great to have a dog. And I don't care. I'm happy that everyone does it because I walk in the street now and every time I see someone, I'm like, oh, dog. Yeah. Cute dog. Yeah. That's what I do too. And it's fun. Yeah. So my point is wedding like dog is a good thing.
I think I was expecting one more paragraph about how that tied in.
I also expected one more paragraph, but I couldn't get there, so I just rushed to the end.
You gave up. I totally agree with everything you're saying, and I respect the wanting to, build their own life in their own way. I think that's what I'm getting from this. And so, if you don't want to get married, don't do it. I will say though that as someone who wasn't sure I wanted to get married, and you were never sure you wanted to get married, I love being married to you.
Oh.
But I also think that we could be together and not married and just as happy.
And as Huey Lewis said, don't need money, don't need fame, don't need a credit card to ride this train. It's just the power of love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't need a wedding, but a wedding's good.
But not necessary.
But not necessary.
Okay. All right, E. Thanks. And good luck. I do not think you need it.
Don't need money, don't need fame, don't need a credit card to ride this train.
All right, this next question is from Anonymous. Dear Shandy, I love your podcast so much. You and Andy complement each other so well and always make me smile. Thank you, Anonymous. Here is my question. How should I approach a wedding registry where the only option is to give the couple cash? Ages and genders of the people in question is 27 to 30, female friends, and the city is... She just wrote major cities. Background. My friend is getting married in a few months, and I am so excited for her. She and I lived together for a few years in our 20s, and now we are in a very similar profession, making very similar salaries. We are still in the working hard / not making a ton of extra money season of life. I will be taking off a few days to go to her bachelorette party and wedding, organizing transportation, staying at a hotel, etc., to be at her big day. I started looking into her registry, and there is only one item on her registry labeled honeymoon fund with no recommendation for how much to donate. I feel awkward just sending her a random amount of money like I used to Venmo her back when we were splitting bills and living together. Also, how much would I send? It makes the whole idea of gift giving feel transactional, almost like I am paying to go to her wedding. She typically does not like the idea of wasting money, so I feel uncomfortable buying her something off the registry. I think she means something off. Not on the registry. Not on the registry. How should I best approach buying her a gift for her wedding? Anonymous.
Well, I mean, we did something not dissimilar from this.
Yeah, we had a reno fund.
And I was totally cool with that. And no one complained about it.
Oh, yeah. I think that she's focused more on the concept of money being given as gifts for weddings, which I totally get. And I feel like when I was around 25 to 27, I was also kind of like, wait a minute, this is it? You know, there's something that feels a little like weird about being like, here's some cash, or here's what's basically a Venmo payment. You know, oftentimes with these like honeymoon funds or whatever, you're just entering your credit card and then like putting in a certain amount. It just feels very weird. You know, but I will say, okay.
No, I'm going to say this. There are certain things in life that are just transactional.
Yes.
Like, do you feel weird tipping a waiter?
I mean, I hope not.
Yeah, you're like, here's some cash. Thanks for that service. Here, I'm going to leave some cash on the table for you to take. Is that weird? No. But it's something that everyone does. It's an understanding that that's how you do it at a restaurant.
Yes.
And I think that a wedding is sometimes, in certain cultures for sure, but not always, but sometimes a wedding is really transactional. It's like, we are starting a life together. We love you and we want you to be a part of the celebration, but also
the celebration costs a lot of money.
Yes, it's understood that we are spending a lot of money and we are trying to start a life together, which costs a lot of money. So we, as a good friend, we're inviting you to be a good friend. And to be a good friend is not to get someone a toaster oven. To be a good friend is to give them cash.
I mean, a toaster oven is worth more than probably what you would give as cash. I guess it depends on the toaster oven, actually.
Toaster ovens, now you get one on Amazon for like $20. Yeah, no. It's unbelievable. You could get a toaster oven.
Are you talking about the Amazon Basics toaster oven? I don't actually know, but I'm sure that exists.
It's basically one of those, what are those, like Betty Crocker? What are those things as a kid?
Easy bake oven.
It's like a fake oven. But no, it's cash is king. And everyone, the fact of the matter is, unless you spend a week thinking about the most personalized, amazing gift that, first of all, is not huge. No one wants a huge gift.
Yeah.
It has to be small, and it has to be thoughtful, it has to be personalized, and it has to have a somewhat decent price tag usually. And it can't be like $10 unless you made it yourself with your hands. That's different.
In which case, that's different, yes.
My point is, if you want to do that, go for it. But other than that, the wedding people, the bride and groom, are going to want, really deep down, they're going to want cash. So it's this unspoken like awkwardness of like, we want cash, but somehow the people at the wedding feel weird about giving cash. And this is not all people. A lot of people are just like, cash obviously is the gift I'm going to give. That's what you give at a wedding.
Well, I mean, my mother's Chinese. I grew up going to weddings and my mother having a red pack.
Red envelopes.
Yeah. With just filled with cash.
There are some weddings where if you don't give cash, it's almost an insult. It's like, why do you give me a gift?
Yeah.
This is a wedding. Give me cash.
Yeah. I feel like, Anonymous, you might be overthinking this slightly. And I totally get it. Like, it just doesn't feel proportionate to their friendship, what they've been through, her excitement for her friend getting married. Also doesn't feel proportionate to how much Anonymous is already spending in order to attend the festivities, going to the bachelorette party. A wedding is just a lot of money all around. It's expensive for the guests. It's expensive for the wedding party. It's really expensive for the bride and groom. And I think that this is one of those cases where you might need to just sort of accept that this is one of the things that people do in our society. And I remember on our wedding, not on our wedding day, but the following weeks when you're opening cards Yeah. We'd get a card from a friend. And there was one particular one from a dear friend who we love. And it just said like, congrats in a big pen. And like in it was just
a bunch of cash.
A bunch of cash. And I don't know why, but opening it was so funny to me. Like it was hilarious, but it was also kind of appreciated because the wedding was really expensive and I don't know. It was like all going to the same place.
There was no negative feelings opening any envelope that had cash in it, even if the card there was zero love put into the card. Like there was nothing negative. If anything, it was positive. Like, oh, look at this. He's just like, here's cash. It's a wedding. It's like honest. Honesty feels good.
Yeah.
And you know what's honest? It's just going to a wedding and be like, here's cash.
Totally. And here's the next part.
It's a cover charge.
Yeah.
Think of it as a cover charge for the honor. Like you've paid probably $50 or even $100 to go to some dumb New Year's party at some dumb bar that you didn't even have fun at.
Why are you looking at me? I wouldn't do that.
I've done it like 50 times.
Really?
I learned my lesson a long time ago.
If you have to pay for a New Year's party in this city, it's never good. I'm saying it out loud.
Can I tell you something? It took me like 10 years to learn that lesson. And when I learned it, I'll never go again.
Yeah.
Ever again.
It always sucks.
Yeah, always sucks.
Yes.
Maybe one time it's like doesn't suck. Like that's the highest you can get. It's like, oh, that didn't suck.
Yeah.
That's it. Anyway, my point is it's a cover charge. Pay the cover charge. It's an honor. It's an honor to pay the cover charge. And you're helping them. You're helping them start a life.
And I want to add too, though, Anonymous, that if you are really tight financially, because she did talk about how she and her friend are both in the not making much money season of life. I loved the wording of that. And of course, most of us have been there. You could make something, or it could be something that's a gesture. And I think your friend would understand. Like, I'm not saying that in order to go to this wedding, you have to hand over a wad of cash. I do not think that is necessarily the case. And certainly on our end, we received some gifts like that. And some of them were really, really touching and meaningful. And in no way were we like, oh, well, but where's the cash?
Yeah, of course. Either way, it's good.
Especially out of towners, any guests that came from out of town. Yeah. Or traveled far, like, come on.
Absolutely.
We're not expecting.
Absolutely. If you put your heart into something and it shows you care and it shows a personal touch and it's like an inside thing, like it's like, look how much I know you and see you. Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah. Or you've traveled.
Yeah. Don't feel awkward giving money. And in the end, you're actually getting value for it. You're getting food. It's pretty good food. A lot of hors d'oeuvres. Some live music, or maybe not live music. You're getting dancing. You always have to pay for dancing somewhere, right? If you go dancing, you pay. You buy drinks. There's a cover charge.
Yeah, it's a third space, as they call it. You're paying to attend a beautiful affair and celebrate your friend.
The fact of the matter is, you're actually probably just paying your share of the cost of the party, which means you are paying exactly the value of what you're getting. I'm going to tell
you something right now. Having made our own wedding, made our wedding. The amount, the general accepted amount of a gift in this country often doesn't even reach the seat charge of that event.
You know what? I think it's closer to half. So what you're really doing by giving cash,
getting a deal.
You're getting a discount. It's like Black Friday. You're getting a Black Friday wedding.
Okay, Anonymous. Hopefully this helped. And, if you really are really strapped, then come up with some creative ideas. I promise you, your friend will not mind.
Yeah, but they got to be really creative. Candy canes and sugar canes are canes that are really great. But the best cane of all is Jenny Kane.
Indeed, Andy, the best cane of all. Jenny Kane with Kayne. I'm wearing Jenny Kane right now. Jenny Kane is the brand that makes my favorite cardigan on the planet. I have this cardigan in 3 colors, in fact. And I think it says something that we've been advertising Jenny Kane for a while now. And I only ever wear one of my 3 Jenny Kane cardigans. And you guys have seen me style these cardigans in a million different ways. I think it says something that they always go with whatever I'm wearing.
Yeah, and you always look so sophisticated. And I'm not just saying that.
Do I look like I've made it, Andy?
You look like you've made it in a way, as I've said before, that makes me feel bad about myself.
Well, you could also put on your Jenny Kane sweater, shall we?
Oh.
Everything's right with the world again, Andy. You're wearing your Jenny Kane cashmere sweater. So soft, so sophisticated. You look like
elegant.
Elegant. I was going to say like a man.
Wait, what?
Jenny Kane understands simplicity. Yeah. Simplicity. Where did we go wrong? There's too much. We all have too much and not enough of the good quality, nice things that go with everything. That's the role Jenny Kane plays in my closet.
Jenny Kane understands that less is more, but it's more less to get to more from less.
Unless you think it's just sweaters. We're always advertising their sweaters. It's not just sweaters. Jenny Kane has great summer pieces too. Everything from sandals to dresses.
So find your new uniform at jennykane.com.
Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code dearshandy at checkout.
That's 15% off your first order at jennykane.com. Promo code dearshandy.
Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. Embrace your summer aesthetic with Jenny Kane. So Andy, what have I got here?
Oops. It looks like you've got a sheet of some kind.
Yeah, it actually looks kind of like a small dryer sheet, doesn't it? What would you say if I told you that this isn't a dryer sheet? It's in fact a laundry detergent sheet.
I would say you are a lying son of a bitch.
This is an Earth Breeze laundry detergent eco sheet, and I swear this is changing the world. Because most people are probably used to buying a large jug, a large plastic container, and even the big jugs that have pods in them. You know, pretty much any detergent we're used to buying comes in a big, thick plastic tub of some sort, most of which, over 90% of which, end up in landfill. Even if you think you are recycling that plastic, you are doing your part. Most likely, I'm sorry to say, most likely that is ending up in landfill, which is really devastating.
Yeah, and think about the world. Think about how many people do laundry.
Yeah.
Who doesn't do laundry? Who hasn't had their hands on one of those giant jugs at one point?
I confess,
I like having my hands on those giant jugs.
But seriously, those giant plastic jugs, they are terrible for the environment. Plus, the worst part is they are over 90% filled with water. Why do you need to be shipping all that water around and carrying it all around?
This is old economy.
Yeah.
This shouldn't exist anymore.
No.
It should be illegal.
However, with Earth Breeze Eco Sheets, you just throw these in your wash as you normally would laundry detergent. And what I really love too is you can rip them to be the size or / amount that you want. And I totally make use of that. I don't know if you've noticed. Sometimes I'll put 1.5 in or just half in, depending on the size of the load. It's so versatile. It cleans every bit as well as any laundry detergent I've ever used. It's fragrance free, safe for sensitive skin, and works in hot or cold water.
So get your hands off those giant jugs. Right now, our listeners can save 40% off Earth Breeze by going to earthbreeze.com/Shandy.
That's earthbreeze.com/Shandy to cut single-use plastic out of your laundry room and get 40% off your subscription.
earthbreeze.com/Shandy.
All right, this next question is from Tripoli Baffled. Good morning, Charlene and Andy.
Tripoli, like the capital of, or is it Triple E?
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
Good morning, Charlene and Andy. I love your show. I was hooked on your Bachelor podcasts, then your Q&As, and now have read some of the books by the experts you've had on your hot topics. Ooh. I just love all that you do and want to thank you for all the work and attention you put into each episode.
Real
How nice.
Shandy.
Thank you, Triply Baffled. So nice. I think that my question is different from most questions you get, but I do hope you could consider it and give me some advice. I am a 29-year-old female living in the Midwest region of the U.S. I have 3 brothers. 2 of my brothers and I are triplets. Here is the situation. When people first find out I'm a triplet, they have loads of questions. One extremely common and uncomfortable question is, were you guys natural? It's always phrased this way and usually comes from complete strangers. What they are actually asking is whether we were conceived through IVF or by sex, and if my mom was taking fertility drugs.
What's wrong with people? That's the go-to?
I think the question is icky. I find it to be a very inappropriate question, and I don't know why people feel they are entitled to that information. I have changed up how I've answered it over the years, but since I come from a Midwest nice culture, I usually just answer it quickly and move on. In my dreams, I'd love to follow that up with, and how were you conceived?
Yeah. Are you natural or artificial?
However, I really don't think I have the guts to follow through with it. I've met lots of people who are multiples over the years. We've discussed pet peeves before. It doesn't seem that twins get this question as often, but it's a common experience for the rest of us. It's also not an uncommon question for our mothers. I was actually in 8th grade when I started receiving this question on a regular basis. Perhaps you think I'm overreacting to the question now, but I'm sure we can all agree that it's a creepy thing for strangers to be asking middle schoolers. I'd love to hear your take on this. Thank you very much and have a lovely day. Sincerely, triply baffled.
You know, times are really changing. You know, when I was in my 20s, I briefly dated a girl who was a quintuplet.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. There was actually in her local paper, there was like a news, she's like made the news.
Okay.
Quintuplets is very rare.
Were they natural?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. My top 100 questions, and believe you me, I had 100 questions.
Yeah.
None of them were, are you natural? Who cares?
Yeah.
What does that matter?
Totally.
Why is that relevant? It's like, how do you get along? Do you have a best friend among you? Like, who do you hate the most?
Totally.
I asked all the uncomfortable questions,
Absolutely.
of course.
Is there a hierarchy?
Right. Is there a hierarchy? Is there
who's closer with who?
Yeah. Is there like a queen bee, an alpha? Like, you know, do you eat the same foods? Like when someone hurts their knee, does someone else feel it? You know, like there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Natural? What is it? Is this a food? Are you at a restaurant? You know what? There's too much asking questions about women's reproductive situation in general, and the result of why is that? Yes. Do I ask you, oh, you had a good meal today? Did you make a nice bowel movement? Yeah. Did you urinate the beverage you drank at lunch? No, that's not important. Stop asking questions about what's going on inside someone's womb or not going on in their womb or having gone on in their womb. That's not your business.
I mean, I agree. That said, okay, so I totally agree. And I agree with her that the thought of her being in 8th grade and getting that question, that's when it began. 8th grade.
Oh, wow. 8th grade. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, she said she started getting the question in 8th grade and it's been her whole life
natural?
now. And she's now 29.
You know what that is? That's passive aggressive. You know what it is?
Business.
It's stupid. It's a stupid question. It's not just inappropriate.
Yeah.
To ask that question, you have to be stupid. And I'm going to use that word because I believe that it is scientifically stupid to ask that question because this is an area where there could be a million questions asked, which are all really interesting. And that's the one you go to. That means you're dumb. That means your brain is not working at a level that it should be working at. I'm very upset about this.
Okay, interesting. I don't know if I'm as offended by this as you,
I'm offended.
I appreciate how offended you are. I can't really relate to this, obviously. I'm not a twin or triplet or anything, but I remember getting asked at a very young age what I am. Like, what are you?
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Yeah. What was this recipe here?
Yeah. What is this? Or where are you from? And I'd say Canada, and they'd be like, no, but like this.
Yeah. Where were you originally from? Like 1,000 years ago. What cave did you grow up in?
Yeah. And I think that it's obviously, it's oftentimes, like she said, it's a complete stranger. Yeah. And you're like, why is this any of your business? Like, why do I owe you telling you my ethnicity or whatever, or explaining to you? Like, the way they say it too tends to be, I suspect in a similar tone, just like, so are you natural? Tell me. I'm owed this because you are in my orbit.
Well, I completely agree with you. And getting back to the inside joke, you have to earn an inside joke. And to ask a question like that, you have to earn it. If that's your go-to, that's inappropriate. You have to get to the point where you are actually trusted by that person. You've had some rapport. You've connected on certain things. And then maybe in passing, if you want, you'd be like, even then it's kind of weak.
Yeah.
But then you can ask it if you really need to. Do you need to? What do you get out of that?
I know.
Like, what's the result? You're like, oh, I was natural. Yay!
Yeah, like exactly. What do they get out of that? The rest of their day, they have that information.
Yeah. Like, how does your life better knowing that she was either made in a lab or made in a womb? And either way, she ends up in the womb. So who cares? What does it matter?
Okay. Wow. Andy, wow, this passion. I love it.
Ignorance makes me angry.
Yes.
And that's ignorant.
And ignorance, by the way, is not always, I think.
No, sometimes it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a cultural thing. Sometimes it's where you were born, your education level. That's fine. But stupidity is different.
Okay.
Where stupidity mixes sort of sloppiness with ignorance.
Okay. So let's give her advice. No. I have two strong thoughts about this. Do you want me to go, or do you have thoughts?
You can go, yeah.
Well, I think we have to remember what she can control here, which is her herself. She can control how she responds and also how she perceives the question. She can't control strangers coming up and asking her this question. I assume it's not the last time someone will ask her this, and she will probably be asked this for the rest of her life, especially as women's reproductive options become more and more mainstream and more discussed. So I think, we touched at the very top about your mindset. And it applies here. I'm so excited. Yeah. Remember I talked at the top of this episode?
Yeah.
About shifting your mindset.
Very nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you were prescient. I mean, you knew what questions you were going to ask. So.
I know. I honestly didn't.
Go. That's very good.
Maybe it's just on my mind lately, but I feel triply baffled that you have two options here. One is you can respond with your response that puts them in their place.
By the way, I'm about to agree with you. Just so I know it seems that I'm not going to agree with you, but what you're about to say, I agree with.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay.
I wanted to steal your thunder.
On this. That's so unnecessary. But I feel like you can either shift your mindset to be less offended by this question and regard it more as a thing that people want to know about. It's nothing personal. That's huge. It's not a personal affront to you. They're probably just curious because they don't meet triplets every day. And they're like, oh, wow, like what? I've never met a triplet before. I'm going to be honest. I have never met a triplet before. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Triply baffled. You're the first triplet I've ever met.
It's rare.
Sort of.
It's very rare.
It is really rare.
Extremely rare.
I would never ask that question, but it is really rare. And so maybe if someone... maybe it's just not as well like socially conditioned, or they've also never met a triplet. They could be like, oh wow, well, I've heard that can happen with IVF. Are you natural? You know what I mean? It's not necessarily coming from this rude or malicious place where you need to take it so personally and be so offended. So that's number one. I think that's going to make a huge difference for you. You can choose to sidestep the question, or I think you could have a canned response for that question, knowing that you are going to continue to get it in your life. And I think her saying, were you conceived naturally is not a bad one, actually. She's frustrated. She says she doesn't have the balls to say it. So you have no outlet then. You're not adjusting your mindset about this, and you're also not retaliating. Right. That's just going to breed resentment.
I agree with almost everything you're saying.
Almost.
No, I basically agree with you. I think, as you said, there are two options. I think the motivation behind the first option is rising above.
Yes.
There was something I had said in a previous, I think it was a Q&A, about how I don't get involved in arguments with people I don't respect anymore. Okay. I just don't get involved.
Yeah.
Or even people I respect a little. It's not worth it. Like Keanu Reeves. Someone in the comments left a quote from Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And I forgot what the quote was.
If you tell me 1 + 1 = 5...
Yeah.
Great.
Fine. I'm not involved. That's great.
Like have a great life.
Nice day.
Yeah.
And I feel
I think it was like, you're right. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Enjoy your day.
there.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those examples where you rise above it and you just say, whatever. No, I was conceived naturally. And
Or no, but we don't even know. That's what I love about this email. She didn't even say.
It doesn't matter.
She doesn't owe them the answer.
I was conceived in a lab. I was conceived naturally. You just say the answer.
Or not even say it. She doesn't even need to give the answer. That's the thing.
Can I just tell
you? Okay, sorry.
I'm trying to get this out. I'm already almost losing my train of thought. So you say the answer. Whatever. You say the wrong answer. You say the right answer. You say whatever answer you want to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, because to me, that person is now written off. And I firmly believe that, because if someone leads to me as a triplet, were you conceived naturally or artificially or whatever they call it, IVF, I'm done with them. But I do not show them that, because that's too much respect for that person. I just say, this is the answer. Thank you very much. Good day. That is marked down on their report, and that's it.
Yeah.
They have to now climb mountains to get back into my good graces.
The irony is that kind of person probably was never going to be in her life anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't give them the satisfaction of getting ired. Can you get ired? You can get ired.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I don't know.
No, maybe not. But don't get angry. Don't give them a rise. Just say, this is the answer I've chosen, and move on. Or say the more ballsy response is just say, oh, what about you? Were you conceived naturally?
Yeah.
That's great if you have the balls. I don't think I couldn't do that. I don't like conflict that much.
I'm trying to think of an answer to that question that I would have the balls to say, and that would be at the ready. Let's think of one for her.
I would say I was actually conceived immaculately.
I love that. That's great. I really like that one. Let me
You can take that, by the way.
I feel like it could even be something like, I'm always amazed when people ask me this question. You know what I mean? Like just observing the question and not throwing it back at them. You think that's still too confrontational?
Again, you're giving them too much. This person deserves either a condescending remark, flippant remark, quick and out, or the answer and out. Because they don't deserve more conversation.
If I had a nickel for every time I've been asked that question, that's the answer.
That's a good one. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
I like that.
That's good too.
It makes the person feel basic and wrong for asking the question, but you're not showing anger about it.
You have two choices. You can take this to a microcosm or a macrocosm. The macrocosm is teaching a lesson, making the world a better place.
I can't help but want to do that here.
Yeah, but that takes work. And that takes, that creates, you have to be willing to go to a place of somewhat, conflict.
Okay. I do think though the priority here should be on her mindset shift. Just for her own sake.
She shouldn't put weight on it.
Yeah, like don't take it so personally. Don't be so offended by it, because I really don't think most people are asking it because they're bad people.
Yeah, but they are asking it, but they're stupid.
Well, she could just file that away and enjoy. And by the way, that Keanu Reeves comment was in response to our empathy episode.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like
Judith Orloff.
And I think that my perspective on this is coming a little bit from that place. It's just like understanding that the person means no harm. The person doesn't mean harm. Even if they're stupid, even if it's ignorant, whatever, they don't mean harm. You don't need to be so offended by it. That I think that will heal her the most. And then of course the retort can just be the cherry on top.
Yeah, and to mix metaphors, so to speak, is that would be what Jesus would do. And Jesus was immaculately conceived. Okay. He's the OG immaculate conceived person. Was there another person immaculate conceived?
Not that I know.
I think he's the only one that I'm aware of, except this girl now.
All right, triply baffled. Hopefully this helped, and good luck, because I feel your irritation.
Mm-hmm. So Charlene.
Yes?
I was thinking about something interesting the other day.
Oh?
The over 2 million happy Fast Growing Trees customers. And I realized that as I'm walking through the world, a lot of the trees and shrubs and plants that I'm seeing are from Fast Growing Trees.
Oh.
And that means that the earth is being fed by Fast Growing Trees. The oxygen we're breathing is from Fast Growing Trees. And pretty much without Fast Growing Trees, I think the planet would die.
And that is because Fast Growing Trees is the largest online nursery in the US. They are one of our nearest and dearest sponsors, truly. And if you love Dear Shandy, then you can support our podcast by buying a tree. I mean, is that really...
You're really going out of your way.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And it's that time of year where you might need a plant for your garden. And it's not just trees. They have over 10,000 different varieties of plants. And that's everything from your regular houseplant to evergreens to fruiting trees, flowering trees, bushes, everything you can imagine. We now have a cherry tree and a raspberry bush. They're doing very well.
They're doing better than all my other plants.
Fast Growing Trees is on top of their game. You know that everything comes with a 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee.
And you know what it's nice to see? It's nice to see a business that's taking over a space that's doing something great.
Totally. And also you can filter your search based on your zip code, and then they will recommend plants for you that will actually survive where you live. And so you won't be just beating your head against a wall, like confused as to why whatever tree you bought isn't surviving in your climate. Instead, you will start off with a tree that was always destined to do better where you live. I think a lot of people make that mistake.
And you know what I love about that is Fast Growing Trees knows, unlike other competitors, they know that you don't know what the hell you're doing most of the time. Yes. And they're like, we get that.
And they provide free plant consultation forever.
And it's unbelievably easy to order online, and they ship to your home in 1 to 2 days.
Yes, to your home. You don't have to drag it anywhere.
No, there's no dragging.
So this spring, Fast Growing Trees has the best deals online, up to half off select plants and other deals.
And our Shandy's get an additional 15% off their first purchase when using code Shandy at checkout.
That's an additional 15% off the sale price when using code Shandy at fastgrowingtrees.com.
Fastgrowingtrees.com, code Shandy.
Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
Made from viscose from bamboo. Cozy Earth is made for you.
Oh, Andy. Yes, Cozy Earth. I mean, so much in this house is from Cozy Earth. Who do you think listening to this podcast right now has not yet heard of Cozy Earth?
The person who just started listening to this podcast?
Well, then let's educate them, shall we? Cozy Earth, one of our OG sponsors, one of our all-time favorites. You are wearing their jogger pants right now. You wear them all the time, perhaps a little too often.
No.
We sleep in our Cozy Earth sheets, also made from viscose from bamboo. They are unbelievably soft and silky smooth, yet also cooling. They keep you warm when you're cold, yet keep you cool when you're hot. We also use their pillowcases. We also have their silk pillows, and we have their waffle towels.
There's really almost no point during our day where we're not touching some form of Cozy Earth.
Absolutely not. Sleeping in the sheets, putting our head on the pillow. In my case, I touch the towels multiple times a day.
And let's be honest, we've all had other bed sheets, other pillowcases, other towels, other lounge pants, etc. And we've all complained about those things.
It's so funny. It's like the others. It reminds me of those, something's being advertised. It's like the before after. It's like us and them, the
it's
others.
It's all like sepia tone.
Yeah, well, truly, the others. We have had the others of all of these products. And it says something that we have not gone back.
And we never will.
Never. They're holy grails. Once you go holy grail, you don't go back.
So want to rest easy on vacay? Take a trip to cozyearth.com/Shandy.
Then use code Shandy at checkout and you'll get an exclusive 35% off.
That's 35% off with promo code Shandy. It's our way of saying thanks for listening.
After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and Dear Shandy in the drop-down menu that follows. Happy sleeping. All right, this next question is from M. Dear Shandy, I discovered your podcast just a few months ago and have already gone back and listened to all of the Q&As. Your wit, humor, advice, it's all perfect. I would be honored if you could shed some light on a current issue I am facing in my relationship. Thank you so much, Em.
Thank you. And we will honor you.
I am 28 and my fiancé, I'll call him D, is 30. We got engaged in October and lived together on the Upper West Side. Neighbors. We met during undergrad and have been together for 10 years. Whoa.
Damn.
10 years. She's 28.
Oh, wow.
D is amazing. Even though I met him when I was only 18, he has spent the last 10 years supporting me, my other relationships, and my dreams. During our relationship, we have been long distance. I have gone back to law school and he has skyrocketed in his career. While the age we met may give you pause, I really think we are the rare example of a couple that meets young but accomplishes more together than we ever would have apart, with one exception. While I have managed to maintain and make many friends throughout the years, D sadly has not. He has worked in finance with horrible hours since graduating and never attended any type of graduate school. His firm is small and without many people his own age. His colleagues adore him, but given the professional dynamics and age differences, they will never be more than colleagues. He is extremely close with his brothers, but they live in California and his college friends are spread across the country. While D is naturally more introverted and craves less socializing than me, when he turned 30, he did admit that his underinvestment in friends and community during his 20s is one of his biggest regrets. He gets along just fine with my friends' husbands and fiancés, but none have blossomed into any meaningful friends yet. While he never makes me feel guilty about my girls' nights or weekends, the knowledge that he spends that time basically alone makes me quite sad. Second to him, my friends bring more joy than anything in the world, and I desperately want that for him. So my question is, can I help D with this, or is this just something he has to figure out on his own? If yes, any advice on what I can do? How and where do adult men make new friends these days? Without a new job, grad school, or kids on the horizon, I am having trouble imagining how and when he will find new people to connect with, even if he wants to make it a priority, which I think he does. I don't necessarily blame our relationship for his predicament because I am proof that it's possible to balance our relationship with friendships, but I do think it has functioned as a crutch for him all these years. Please help. Lots of love, M.
You know what my big takeaway from this is?
What?
She loves D.
You were so excited about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
No, but seriously, she does.
Yes.
She really loves him. This is a question that comes from a place of deep love.
Yes.
And for that reason, I feel that we should take extra care with this and not be flippant.
We are never flippant.
Never flippant. But there will be no flippancy in this answer.
No.
Zero.
No, I mean, but I don't think we're ever flippant.
No, we're never flippant.
I put so much thought into every answer we give that I'm exhausted after Q&As.
First of all,
how dare you suggest flippancy?
No, I'm not saying that our answers are flippant. I'm saying that we mix flippancy within our answers. And there will be zero flippancy in this answer.
All right.
Zero.
Okay.
Not one drop.
Okay, so what's your answer?
I haven't thought about it. Okay, no, seriously. It is never too late to make friends as a man, but it is not easy.
You think it's harder for men than women?
It is hard for men to make friends late. However, there are ways that it can be done. Mm-hmm. It takes effort, and the effort pays back.
Okay.
The main effort is not necessarily the things you do. It's the attitude you take. You need to be willing. Men don't like to be vulnerable. Let's face it.
Often.
They don't like to be emotional. They don't like to be vulnerable. And that's a generalization.
Yeah, and also you should add straight men.
Straight men.
Not yeah.
Totally. Oh my God, straight men. Got to say straight men here for sure. But it's like this toxic masculinity thing, and it's just like, and we're also in a very not verbal time. Yeah. Like there's not a lot of talking to strangers. Like in the old days when I was a kid, like literally just every day you're on the street, you're like, hey, what's happening? Oh, I like that thing. What's going on? There's no conversation anymore.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard from an emotional level, from a logistical level, and from a general inertia level.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to have the attitude that I'm going to go up to men and I'm going to be open.
But who are you talking to right now? Because her first question was, can I help D with this? Or is this just something he has to figure out on his own?
Right.
You're talking to D.
You're right.
Which answers the first question.
That's a good point. I'm talking to D now.
Yes.
And D needs to be open, allow himself to go up to men and show that he's like, hey, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And that's not that easy to do.
No, I imagine
as an adult.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not easy. So that's number one for him. And number two is he has to put himself in places where that can happen easily. Join a softball club or like a dodgeball thing, or do a class, like go to one of these, just like these.
Well, I'm going to link here an episode on platonic friendships, which, I think that it applies to men as well as women. So I want to link that here. But I think that that friendship is born from repeated, unplanned interaction.
Yes.
That's why work works or school works typically, is because you end up in the same place at the same time without being like, hey, you want to meet there?
Exactly.
So this is something he needs to put in a little work to make happen for himself.
But that's where I think M, can come in. So she can encourage him to do that.
Okay.
Oh.
I have a slightly different perspective.
But how is he going to start doing this without her telling him to?
Well, so there. Okay. That is so interesting. You just asked that question. To me, I find it so symbolic that she wrote into a relationship podcast asking about her husband's friendships, how few he has. How can she make that happen for him? I agree that their relationship is probably wonderful and they have achieved and accomplished so much together that they would not have separately. But I'm getting extreme vibes here that she looks after him in ways that she probably doesn't even recognize anymore. They've been together for 10 years since she was 18. Like the fact that she's trying to help him make his own friends.
Well, she's mothering him.
Yes.
And that's a dynamic that could be dangerous. That's a very good point.
How is it possible that he's just like, oh, I regret not investing more in my friendships in my 20s, but yet he's not doing the things you would do to make that happen in the present and for the future? He is sort of resigned to his friendless fate.
I'm so glad
and isn't being proactive about his own social circle.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because you now this is exactly the issue. We got to the heart of the issue.
I think
this question is not about how can I get him to do these things. The question really is, how can I get him to be
the kind of person who wants to make his own friendships?
To do those things.
Yes.
Exactly. Because this is a dynamic that could fester. Mm-hmm. And she loves D now. She can't get enough of D. She loves that D. But this could turn into something where she maybe doesn't like D that much anymore.
I don't want to go so far. All I'm saying is that I think that there's a dynamic here that both of them are playing a part in. you know, where she feels almost a little guilty having girls' nights and he doesn't make her feel guilty. Well, I should hope not. That's not a big bonus point for him.
You know what this is? This is an unsexy dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's got to change. She needs to sit him down and encourage him to change this.
Yeah.
And that's it. And if this becomes a better situation in his life, it's going to be a better situation for the two of them.
Totally.
To make her happier.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation. I agree with you. You're 100% right. This is a dynamic issue. It's not a logistical issue.
Yeah. In my opinion, I don't feel like he has put a lot of effort into this, if I'm honest. I just don't believe that a guy living in New York City, he's 30 years old. I know he's invested a lot in his career. Like, I understand there's all the reasons why his friendships haven't worked out. But she herself said that she has all these friendships. She's been in the same relationship as him, and he has nothing to show for it. It's not just career. No. He has been passive with regards to his social circle, period.
This is why I think this is not going to end well. Because this is the birth of a dynamic that I think comes from the relationship where he, instead of getting a lot of his support from outside the relationship and letting that foster the relationship itself and letting it grow, you know, like fertilizer for the relationship, he's just saying, you know what, this is it. She's my world. And my job is the rest of my world, and I'm good. And that can only get worse. Like what can happen down the road is that can start bleeding into other aspects of his life, where now he doesn't do any hobbies anymore, or he doesn't leave the house, or he doesn't watch his own shows, or he doesn't buy his own pants. Like, well, actually, I mean, I kind of don't buy my own pants anymore. But you know what? It's okay. I've accepted that.
You so don't buy your own pants. I don't buy my own pants.
I'm going to tell everybody. It's true.
You buy your own shirts sometimes.
I buy my own shirts
sometimes,
and I definitely approve pants that are being bought for me. I have final approval. Well, I still have that shred of manhood left. But no, I really think that there's something okay with that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to actually lifestyle choices that are impacting your partner, you have to hold up your side of the bargain.
Yeah.
And he's not. And he's doing a disservice. He doesn't realize how much of a disservice he's doing to the relationship. And I know she now is totally down with D. She loves that sweet D. But it's not going to be such good D in another 10 years when he has no friends and maybe no hobbies.
Well, my fear is that over time, this can start to breed a lack of respect.
Lack of respect.
A lack of admiration.
Admiration.
Yeah. Like, you know, everyone wants to be with someone who's well-liked.
Yes.
Who people like. You know, maybe you don't care that much, but, you know, someone who has a circle of friends. It's a bit of a pink flag, orange flag, if a guy has no friends, honestly. Like, well, let's just imagine she's meeting him today. Okay, they don't have the history they have. She's 28, he's 30, they start dating. He has no friends. Yeah. Would she be like, oh, that's fine, that's cool, that says good things about him? No, she would be like, that's concerning.
Yeah.
Like, why? And I know that, of course, part of the reason she thinks that he has no friends is because of her and their relationship. But I don't think that that's an excuse. That is passivity on his part. I just think it's so telling that this email is not even about herself or even about the relationship. She's writing about her husband's lack of friends. Like, that is so symbolic.
And can I tell you something? Just picture that this email, this question was about her son.
Oh,
interchangeable.
Oh my God, it is interchangeable. You're so right. Well, hopefully, our answer provides you with food for thought. I feel like she could express just about everything she said in this email to his face, along with an encouragement. You know, she said, I feel a little guilty. He doesn't make me feel guilty, but I feel guilty. She should tell him that.
I completely agree. And I think the mindset when I started answering this question, I wanted to think about his mindset. And I realized, thank you for that redirecting. I was going the wrong direction. She needs to change her mindset. And her mindset needs to be not talking to her son, putting her son on her lap and saying, listen, buddy, you got to go out there and make some friends. And this is how you do it. And you got to say hi. And you got to go kick the ball. No, she should say, how do I feel? Like, talk to him as an adult.
Yes.
It's very important. These dynamics can get very ugly.
Yeah. And get weird fast.
Weird and unhealthy.
Yeah.
Talk to him as an adult. Be like, hey, D, this is never not funny.
She chose D.
I mean, maybe it was a wink. Anyway, I need something more here. and I need you to step up. And again, this is paraphrasing, but don't be like, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what? It would be nice to have some friends.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be good for you.
Yeah.
Go do something. Go do that club. She can do that in another conversation. But the first conversation is an adult dialogue.
Yeah.
I need this. I want this. This makes me feel like our relationship is missing something. I need you to step up and do this thing more.
Yeah, for yourself, because by doing it for yourself is doing it for us.
Yes. Think of him as someone who's your
partner.
age.
Yeah,
a partner,
equal. Yeah.
An equal.
Yeah, totally. Okay, agreed on all fronts.
All right.
Do you think that was harsh?
Well, it has. Look, honestly, go listen to other podcasts. They'll be really, really nice.
Is that our advice?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we were mean. I just think that the question she's asking is not necessarily the answer. You know, we're not answering the question she's asking, really. But I feel very strongly about my answer.
In my life, when I look back on my life and I think about all the times I went to friends and asked them relationship advice, the ones that stuck and the ones that changed my life for the better were the ones that gave me a good shaking.
Oh, yeah.
Not the ones who just told me what I wanted to hear or
babied
softened
you.
it.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, it'll be okay. She'll come back.
Yeah.
Just tell me the truth and tell it to me firmly and respect me as an adult. And if I'm acting like a baby, give me a... What do you do? No, you don't do that to a baby. I can't do that. You don't do that to a baby.
Yeah,
no, we don't do that.
Shake, a little shake.
Just a little.
A little jostle. Okay, and I honestly think that firm jostling applies not only with her and him, how she approaches him with this, but also how we're approaching her with this. Because we could be like, oh, that's so loving. You could help him do this. You could do this. You could encourage him to join a club and to embrace his hobbies. But I actually think the hard truth here is that she should actually leave him to be on his own a bit more, like back off a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
The absence of telling him what to do, the absence of giving him what he thinks he wants in his life.
The absence of being his everything.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. What he thinks he wants.
Yeah.
He thinks he wants her to be his everything, his support, his friends,
well, apparently
his
he
lover.
says he has regrets about not having friendships. So, I don't want to misinterpret that. It's just that
he's
not doing anything.
He's chosen
Yeah,
this.
he's not doing anything about it, so he clearly doesn't want it that bad. He has something that's filling that hole right now.
You choose what you want. In the end, you choose what you want, what's comfortable. You're doing it for a reason. He has to break out of his comfort zone. He has to do it on his own. She can drop hints here and there. Of course. She can't be, she can say, oh, just look at this thing I saw. This looks fun.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it can't be heavy-handed and it can't be a lecture and she can't baby him.
And
period.
she can't sign up for it for him.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No signing up for meetup groups with his name on her computer.
So the most she could do, I'll give it to her, maybe is like a grand birthday gift.
Yeah.
Or she's like, I bought you like
totally. Or they research it together.
Sure.
And she's like, oh, you might like this, you might like that, and then have him sign up for it.
Yeah, there's got to be a cutting of the cord at some point.
Yes.
And that cord is umbilical in this case.
All right, Em, good luck. I do think you're going to need luck because I think that dynamic is something that they're both contributing to.
Wait, does cutting the cord always mean umbilical?
Oh, I think maybe.
Oh, crap. Like if you're like someone's holding, like you're climbing a mountain and someone else is at the top and you got that rope and someone cuts the cord. Oh, no, then you die.
If I just think the expression comes from it being umbilical.
Damn it. Wish I could have that one back.
I could always cut it, but I'm not going to.
No, you know what? Leave it. Teach me a lesson.
Yeah.
Leave it there. That's what M needs to do to D.
Okay, moving on.
So Charlene, you know what I have in my hands?
What do you have in your hands, Andy?
I have 4 of a kind.
For our listeners, Andy's holding 4 AG1 travel packs.
And almost no hand beats 4 of a kind. And I will say that almost nothing beats the feeling of AG1 first thing in the morning.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very nice. AG1 is our daily, comprehensive, and convenient nutrition. It has all our vitamins and minerals and whole food sourced ingredients, pre and probiotics, also a bunch of other goodies. All in one drink. You just pour the powder into water, stir it in the morning, and drink it. And honestly, it tastes surprisingly good, better than you would expect. And it sure beats popping a bunch of different pills in the morning.
And it's nice to go traveling without a bunch of little drug baggies of supplements in my luggage.
How nice. AG1 has these travel packs. Actually, we're about to travel. We're about to be gone for 10 days as of recording this AG1 ad. And we will be bringing 20 of those with us. So we each have one every single morning. When we're on the road, we never miss a day.
You know what? I'm actually going to bring 22, but we may miss our flight.
Okay. That really says something about the way you think. So AG1, let's say you are like, okay, well, I don't care about my vitamins and minerals and pre and probiotics and all the things for my digestion and whatnot. Let me tell you, you feel a difference.
You know what I don't have anymore is travel irregularity.
That was a big issue.
Big issue. I used to assume, I was like, oh, we're traveling, it's coming.
Yeah.
Or it's not coming.
I remember that was an issue on this one vacation we took. It became sort of a running joke on our Instagram. It was like, does anyone have tips for Andy's issues in the bowel movement department?
Oh, wow. You're really subtle there.
Since we brought AG1 into the mix, and we have traveled more extremely than that trip, like more internationally, bigger time differences, bigger changes in diet, AG1 has kept us regular. And also, I feel more energized in the morning.
It gives me that non-coffee pep.
Pep in your step. Ooh, jinx.
Oh, yeah. So if you want to replace your multivitamin and more, start with AG1.
Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, plus 5 free travel packs with your first subscription when you go to drinkag1.com/dearshandy.
That's drinkag1.com/dearshandy.
All right, this next question is from Kelsey.
Ooh, a name.
And it's an Am I the Asshole?
Wow.
I love those. Dear Shandy, I, 33 female, have lived in downtown of a medium-large size city in a rather old building. Yes, I had to sign many papers confirming I would not sue for lead poisoning, complications of breathing in asbestos, etc. It's that old. Wow. I've lived here for about 9 years on a floor full of studio apartments with front doors sharing a hallway inside the building. Last year, someone, no one signed, left a sticky on my door requesting that I stop slamming it. I don't think I slammed my door. Honestly, I must have a powerful butt. I usually bump the door with it. I was so furious about someone publicly posting that and not signing. How could I follow up? Soon after, I forgot about the sticky note and hoped it was the person beside me who moved out. Well, this week, someone, 30-ish female, stopped me in the street saying she was my neighbor, did not give a name or normal introduction, and asked me to stop slamming my door early on the weekends.
Respect. I mean, you know.
It's direct.
Yeah.
I told her the situation, that normally my hands are full and I close the door with my butt. We left the conversation there. What I really wanted to say was, why aren't you wearing earplugs or headphones like everyone else? Or go buy a house if you want control over your space. Or we can all hear everyone's doors shutting, even yours. But let's be honest, I constantly wear my AirPods listening to podcasts like Dear Shandy.
Oh.
Am I the asshole for wanting her to plug it instead of me conscientiously having to shut it? Kelsey.
You know, first of all, I'm just going to make a blanket statement here.
Okay.
I generally think if there's a contract which asks you not to sue about breathing in asbestos, you probably shouldn't sign the contract. That's just my personal opinion.
She's been in the building for 9 years, Andy.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is helpful.
Yeah, it's too late. And yes, she is the asshole.
You think Kelsey's the asshole?
100%. I'm sorry, Kelsey. Thank you for being a Shandy. And because you're a Shandy, I am giving you the respect you deserve.
Of honesty.
And look, is she the asshole too? Kind of.
It sounds like her delivery is not great.
She could do better with delivery. But I will say this. I can never fault someone for being that direct. That is a trait that I think there should be more of in the world. Not necessarily in an aggressive way, but just a truthful way.
Okay.
I also don't love doors slamming.
I hate doors
slamming. And in
slamming.
an old building, often the walls are not that thick and there's not a lot of sound insulation. So a slam that you think is gentle might sound even louder to your neighbor. And I'm going to say this. It's not a lot of work. I'm talking to Kelsey right now. I'm sorry to leave you out of this. It's not a lot of work to just close your door quietly. Honestly, I do it. And I had an old neighbor that told me I was slamming my door. And after a while, I was like, you know what? That is pretty loud. And it doesn't take that much work.
How did you react? How did they deliver that? And how did you react at the time?
She put a note under my door.
Did she sign?
By the way, that was the first of many notes about noise issues.
Okay.
It got a little old after a while.
Okay.
But I was like, this is a reasonable request. It's not a lot of work. I'm going to make her very happy without really putting out much effort.
I mean, and this is the person she knows about. So you can't help but wonder how many neighbors are annoyed by how many neighbors are being woken up by a slamming on a Saturday morning who aren't saying anything.
I'm gonna say something a little uncomfortable here. Ooh. Kelsey, I think you're making a loud door slam
with her butt.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. There are neighbors who complain about everything.
Yes.
There are neighbors who are very sensitive to sound.
Yes.
Okay, so we can't.
But if you are sensitive to sound, you have to respect that. And it's one thing if like you're like, stop walking around at night. I can hear your feet. Then it's like you have to talk. You're like, listen, we have to understand. But slamming of the door is a 1 second thing that happens maybe 3-4 times a whole day. Just close your door quieter. That's it. End of story.
I will say every time I enter or leave our apartment, I make a point of breaking the fall of the door with my foot so that it doesn't slam.
Even when I'm carrying a lot of stuff with both hands, I will take my toe and make sure
it doesn't slam.
That I prevent that door from slamming.
Yeah.
Because I know it's annoying.
Okay, this is reminding me of a very early Q&A question. We're talking probably the first 6 months, maybe first year of the podcast. If I find it, I will link it here. But it was someone who got a complaint from a roommate about having loud sex. And we talked about city life.
Yeah.
You know, what it is to live in an apartment building in a major city and what that looks like from a courtesy standpoint. You know, obviously she's like, oh, why don't you go get a house somewhere if you want to control how much noise people make? Sure. And look, I'm not going to pretend that when I go home to Ottawa and stay in my parents' home, it's a house, that I don't enjoy like singing at the top of my lungs until 11 p.m. I totally do that. But I don't do that here because I know that people probably don't want to listen to opera at 11 p.m. Like, it's just a way of living and thinking that takes into account how you want to be treated in return.
Yes.
I would not want someone else to do that to me. And I can tell our neighbors they can tell when we're recording, I think, and they even watch their slamming.
A total difference when we're recording in the level of volume of the slam. No question.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Me too.
It makes me love them.
Yes.
And you know, the fact of the matter is, Kelsey, is she's not complaining about anything else. And I'm sure you're listening to music and you're having friends over and you're probably dancing around your living room here and there. I don't know.
Wait. What does this have to do with it?
Because she's only complaining about the door. I'm sure Kelsey's doing other things that make noises.
Oh, that's a good point.
She's not complaining about.
Okay, so it's a good point, actually. She's not, the woman is not complaining about her lifestyle.
Right.
She's complaining about one specific thing.
That's easily fixable.
Yes. Very easily fixable.
Yes, and she's being direct about it, which has to be respected. And you know what? I hate to do this now. I'm really turning on a Shandy. I don't like this. And don't take this the wrong way. I think that you may have the slightest bit of an anger issue. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I have anger issues too. I have anger issues. But I think in the future, for situations like this, try, as hard as it may be, and I know it's hard, because I experienced this, react with love instead of anger. And that's all.
Okay. Wow.
I found that it helps tremendously. It saves me the energy of sitting around stewing like, oh, who this person think they are.
Okay. Wow. I did not get anger issue from this, but I also am not the kind of person who responds with anger unless it's something very specific. Sometimes I do.
No.
But no, that's an interesting point because now
I'm not saying she's angry. I'm not saying she has, I misphrased.
Okay.
I'm not saying you have anger issues. You have normal anger. There's normal garden variety anger that people are like, who does this person think they are telling me to say?
Yeah.
But instead of reacting that way, like try to make the initial instinct love. And it's amazing how much better that makes your life.
Yeah.
Like if someone says something that I don't like, I'm like, wait, let me think of it from a perspective of love. Like if I was them and why are they saying this to me? And oh, you know what? That's reasonable. And I respect the honesty. And that's not a lot of trouble for me to do.
Yeah. And also remember, and I said this in an earlier answer, but the fact that it's not personal. I don't think this woman is coming at her. Like she felt so wronged by the sticky being on her door. She's like, I felt so publicly shamed.
Well, that's the anger thing.
Yeah. I don't really think that it is. Okay. There's your neighbor slid it under your door. That might have been, a little more discreet, but I really don't think that it's personal. I don't think many people saw it. I don't think that too much stock needs to be put in the sticky note.
No one cared.
And she said, she didn't even sign. I had no way to.
And it's a sticky note. It's not like a big sign. If she put like an 8 by 11.5 piece of paper, that's different.
Yeah.
That's maybe a little more passive aggressive.
I get the impression this woman is probably a little abrasive. Like she probably didn't lead with like, oh, like, I'm so sorry, but like I try to sleep in on Sundays and then your door slamming, it always wakes me up. I get the impression she was a little more curt.
You know what I think she should do? I think she should turn the other cheek fully and try to befriend this woman. And that way she solves all the problems. Maybe this woman is really cool. Maybe part of her personality is just being brutally honest all the time. And that's good. Maybe that's good to have a friend like that.
I'm going to say something outrageous right now. But between what I know about these two people, I would rather be friends with the neighbor.
Oh, we just lost the Shandy. What's that sound? I hear this. Oh, that's the sound. It's gone.
All I'm saying is in terms of if I had to live in a building with someone and also just the directness of the neighbor, like I really respect it. It's hard to be that direct. And I agree it's a little abrasive, but
I agree with you in the sense that if you gave me a choice between two neighbors, one who's very honest and one who slams her door, I'm going to take the honest one.
Yes, totally.
And we're assuming that Kelsey slams her door. Maybe she doesn't, but the evidence points to her slamming it because she doesn't complain about any other noises, as I said before.
And she shouldn't put too much stock in the fact that no one else complains. Because a lot of people just don't have the balls to complain about something like this.
And I'm telling you right now from experience, the noise of a slamming door in an old building is louder to other people than it is to you.
Yes.
It's a mystery of science.
Yeah.
But I found that to be true. I slam my door. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that loud. But when I hear another door slam, the whole house shakes.
Yeah. It's because you're the one slamming. It's sort of like when you're driving. Let's say you're driving and you put on the brakes really fast, that affects everyone else in the car more than it does you because you were the one with the action.
Oh, good analogy. Very nice.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good. Yeah, or when you smell something in the elevator and you're like, oh, that's disgusting. But if it's you, you're like, nice.
I mean, I think we answered this one, but I don't know if Kelsey's going to like our answer.
No.
But she did ask, am I the asshole? She asked the question.
You know what? Sometimes when you ask the question, if you're the asshole, you know you're the asshole. And you just want someone to tell you you're not. But you came to Shandy and you know what we do. We tell you what you don't want to hear.
I don't know if that's true.
No, we don't.
I think when we get am I the asshole questions, we think the question asker is the asshole about 50% of the time.
Yeah, it's about 50-50.
Yeah. Sorry, Kelsey. But thank you for being a Shandy, and we hope we didn't lose you.
I am sure in every aspect of her life, except closing doors, she's wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. And I even like the image of her having her hands full and like closing the door with her butt. Like, I think that's cute.
I'm sure she's delightful.
Yeah.
We love you, Kelsey.
Yeah.
But just close your door quieter.
Yeah. It takes very little effort.
Use your foot.
What is it? Treat others as you want to be treated? Is that the thing?
Do unto others as you would want done unto yourself. And someone told me that's the golden rule. It's not from the Bible.
Oh, really?
Someone in the comments. I assume they're right.
Okay, so do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be woken up by a loud noise, try to prevent your butt from doing that to others.
Well said.
Okay, good luck. I don't think you need it. I think this is an easy fix. Easy. Lead with love. Aww. Okay, I think that's a wrap, Andy, for this Q&A. That was a fun one.
Do you believe in love? Oh. Do you believe it's true? And you're making me believe it too.
Oh.
Huey Lewis.
Yeah, very nice.
Hip to be square. That's another song. I just wanted to say that.
But how does hip to be square
go? Just trying to say
go?
as many Huey Lewis songs as I can say in one podcast.
Okay.
It's hip to be square. That's it.
It's hip to be square, but it's not hip to, what was it? Have no friends.
That's right.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap there. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram, and TikTok, leave us Apple and
Spotify
podcast ratings and reviews. Tell your friends, and generally do all the things you would do to support a podcast you enjoy.
Wait.
Ooh.
I think what happens is we say this, and it becomes so repetitive that they don't hear it. It's like furniture. You don't notice furniture. You buy art. You're like, oh, this art's beautiful. And like 2 years later, you never see it.
Yeah.
I think we need to make a point. Like we need reviews.
Yes.
Reviews are very important for Dear Shandy.
Like this video.
Subscribe
on YouTube.
If you aren't following us and you do social media, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
And now we follow we have a beautiful little puppy that you can follow on Instagram. And you know what? I'm gonna take her out.
Okay, yeah. Reward the people for sticking around. Okay. All right, go get her. Okay. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, leave us Apple and Spotify podcast ratings and reviews, tell your friends, and generally do all the things you do to support a podcast you enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy. I'm so uncomfortable. These jeans, like what psychopath makes jeans without stretching them?
You should wear cozy pants. I'm not uncomfortable.